So we have our ghost jokes going on, yeah? So ideally, we have an array of jokes. So we have an array of jokes. We have an array of answers, right? We have some sort of variable to keep track of which joke we're on. Now, the names you have for these different things will likely be different from one person to the next. They might be different than I might say up on the screen, and that's okay. This class is never about you taking what I do and reproducing it exactly on your computer. It's about taking the ideas and using those ideas to do a thing. Okay? So let's say I had an array of jokes called jokes, and an array of answers called answers. And a variable to keep track of jokes called joke number. Again, yours might be different. So I know that I'm asking a joke, so I'm using that text command. And then inside my square brackets, that's where my joke number goes. That helps. Let's see if I can actually write today. Come on. And then I give it some x and y coordinates. I don't know what those numbers are. Something like that, right? And that would ask a joke. And as joke number changes, I ask the next joke, right? And I've got something similar for answer. Right now, most of you have in your mouse pressed at some point going to the next joke, right? And then going to the next joke, and then going to the next joke. Wouldn't it be cool if we could say, give me a random joke? That would be kind of nice, wouldn't it? So there is something I could do. So there is a command called random. And then I have two parameters in the random function, and that is the minimum value and the maximum value. Okay, so far so good? And this will return a number somewhere between the minimum and the maximum value. The thing to know about the random function, though, is that it returns decimal values. You with me? And so let's say I put my minimum, if I did random 0, 10, if that's what I put in there, it's going to give me a random number between 0 and 10. But what it will actually do is it will be somewhere between 0 and 9.999999. It will never actually give me 10. This is how random works. Well, if I tried to put in jokes 7.396297, P5 would not be happy with me. Are you with me? P5 would not be happy with me. It wants this number to be a whole number, not a decimal value. So if I want to get a random number, I've got to do something special to it. I need to chop the decimal point off. Does that make sense? So random returns a random number between 0 and that top number, but not including the top number. It will never get the top number.
Can I get some water?
Yeah. So far, so good. So if I wanted, so let's say I did a variable named a gets random 0, 10. It's going to give me a value. But then if I do something like a gets int stands for integer. It's going to take whatever value a is and it's going to chop the decimal point off. Does that make sense? if I wanted to be lazy and do that all in one line, I could do that in one line if I wanted to by saying A gets int random and this will generate me a random integer between 0 and 9. This will never give me 10. This will give me a random integer between 0 and 9. Does that make sense? So if I had 10 jokes, I could put that, it would give me, because again, my jokes array starts at 0 and ends at 1 less than the number of jokes, right? If there's 10 jokes, the last index in the array is 9. So this works out. So far, so good? So I could, instead of when I click the mouse, right now when you click the mouse, somewhere in there you've got something like joke number gets joke number. So you've got something like this in there. Again, your word might not be joke number, right? Instead, what we would do if we want it to be random is this is not what we would write. Instead, we wouldn't have joke number get that. We would have joke number get int random 0, comma, however many jokes you have. Does that make sense? And then every time you click, you will get a new random joke. So see if you can do something with that. And again, if you're still working on getting your array done, get that done first, and then see if you can implement this randomizer.